Yo, what's going on guys, it is FoxyDude98 here and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today on my channel. Today we are back with F1 2016 Career Mode Season 3 Part 5 here for the Spanish Grand Prix. And as you can see, we've got a new R&D event, and that is going to be a chassis weight upgrade that we made for the previous episode. And also, as you can see on your screens there, Mercedes have also made 2 upgrades to their car, which I can't really remember what they are, but you can see them on your screens there. I can't remember because my screen's blurry, but they are now the fastest car. Now, if you remember, we overtook Mercedes in Russia as the fastest car on the grid. However, now that Mercedes have made some upgrades ready for the European season, they've now re-overtaken us in the R&D development system, so we still need to keep on working because they're in front of us. In terms of the driver's standings, though, we have got maximum points out of the possible so far. We've had a perfect start to the season. Nothing problem there. We've had 4 out of 4 victories. Now we're here for the Spanish Grand Prix, and let's see if we can make that 5 out of 5, or will someone else finally win a Grand Prix this season? Hopefully not. I'd rather it didn't. But anyway, if you do enjoy the video as well, guys, drop a like on it. That'd be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you have not subscribed to my channel yet. And let's get into things. Into the track acclimatization test, we passed that one with flying colours. Into the tyre wear test, we absolutely aced it and got maximum resource points. And then for the qualifying simulation run, we nailed that as well. Going a little bit wide on the exit of the final corner, going onto the gravel trap just slightly, but we still managed to come through and take first place. And that's going to be it for practice. So we got maximum resource points, which we are going to need as we're going to be looking to making some upgrades ready for the Monaco Grand Prix, and then in future races such as the Canadian Grand Prix, and then the likes of Canada, well yeah, the likes of Canada, Azerbaijan and Austria. Very high speed circuits. They don't suit this Red Bull car very well, so we want to start looking into making some upgrades in that specific area. But anyway, then we're going to be getting into qualifying now, so let's get into it. So as you can see here, we're coming around the final corner in Q1. We're going to be qualifying on the soft tyres, obviously. DRS is wide open, and we come through there, and we're about 2/10 off the pace of what Lewis Hamilton did. And at the end of it, Ricciardo got the fastest lap in Q1. Ahead of Lewis Hamilton, ahead of myself, followed by Raikkonen and Rosberg. So a nice qualifying one there, safely through into Q2, which is nice to see. Moving on into Q2 then, Daniel Ricciardo, as you can see on the top left, has actually gone for the medium compound tyres for this session. I've stuck with the soft tyres, so a conscious strategy going on at Red Bull here. And Daniel Ricciardo will be starting the race on those medium compound tyres. So a very interesting strategy there from Ricciardo. I've stuck with the softs, and that got me into second. Moving on then into the final part of qualifying session here, the DRS is wide open, and I come across the line here, and I'm literally 6/100ths of a second slower than Lewis Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo comes in as well and qualifies in second, but it was about a 1/10 of a second between me, Ricciardo and Hamilton, and it's always been that way in qualifying so far this season. The three of us are just really close in terms of natural racing pace, and we come through there, and we're going to be qualifying third for this Spanish Grand Prix, which is not a bad result at all. I don't mind that. I think we could have probably done with a front row start, because of course I like to go to the inside line into turn 1. Unfortunately, I'm on the outside line into turn 1. My teammate is there, so we'll see what we have to do. Listening then to the session objectives from Emma, she's going to tell us that she wants us to finish in the positions provided by Red Bull, which are there. And that's it then for this practice and qualifying. Let's get into the race for the Spanish Grand Prix.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Anthony Davidson is here with me today. Together we'll be taking you through all the action of this Spanish Grand Prix. It can be hard for the cars to follow each other closely here due to the dirty air coming off the car in front, so perhaps we're looking at a more strategic Grand Prix, Ant. What do you think on that?
I'm not too sure about that, Crofty. I mean, yes, as you say, it's hard to follow around here, but if you're brave on the brakes, you can get the job done down into turn 1, which is a medium-speed corner, so you have to be committed. And looking down at this grid today, I think we're going to see 1 or 2 drivers making a move from a long way back, maybe try to force their opponent into a mistake. I don't think this is a race that's going to be purely decided in the pit stops.
You qualified lower than we expected. See if you can make up some places off the start.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have a Red Bull, Raikkonen, Sebastian Vettel and Rosberg, Perez, Bottas, Kvyat and Jenson Button, Grosjean, Alonso, Nico Hülkenberg and Sainz, Gutierrez, Magnussen, Felipe Massa and Jolyon Palmer, Nasser and Ericsson, Pascal Wehrlein and Rio Haryanto completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Alright then guys, as you can see we are here for the Spanish Grand Prix right now, and we're going to be starting on the soft tyres, and then we're going to be making a stop onto the medium compound tyres, taking those to the end of the race. So as you can see then, we're going to be onto this formation lap. Now I was given a comment and it told me that even though I warm up the tyres and the brakes, it actually resets when you go across the line, which is something I never knew, but I always skip the formation lap. Like, you can just press start and click skip formation lap. I know I can turn them off, but interesting to hear that. But anyway, we are on the grid here for this Spanish Grand Prix. We've got 5 red lights here, and it is lights out and away we go, and it's a good start from us. Ricciardo struggling to get away off the line there with his medium compound tyres, and we're going to take full advantage of that here. And now we're into the slipstream of my rival Lewis Hamilton, and we're going to brake nice and late down the inside of Lewis Hamilton. A bit of contact there, but into turn 1 we go, and we have taken the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. A perfect start here, and now it is our chance to control this Grand Prix and see how things go. My teammate Ricciardo is now up into 2nd place, so my attack on Lewis Hamilton has not only helped me take the lead of the race, I've also helped my teammate Ricciardo get back in on the action here as we're now coming through this middle sector. Probably, actually, I never said this at the start of the episode, but the Spanish Grand Prix circuit, or the Circuit de Catalunya, is probably one of my is up there as one of my top 3 weakest circuits on the calendar. So to be leading this race and continuing to play on Ultimate AI is pretty good so far. But of course, we're only on the first lap at the moment, so we definitely need to keep concentrating here. As my teammate Ricciardo still closing in behind me here, still in the rich fuel mixture, as I'm going to be using up as much as I can for the first lap to try and build in some sort of an advantage and stop my opponents from getting anywhere near me when it comes to the DRS activation zone. So we definitely want to be keeping wary of that here. Breaking now down into the the final sector, down into this very difficult chicane, watching the sausage curbs because they will literally fling your car into Narnia. Round the final corner we come here, and Daniel Ricciardo struggling with the traction there on his medium compound tyres, and we're going to come through, and that's going to be fastest lap as we maintain the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. A brilliant start from 3rd up into the lead, and Ricciardo getting his slipstream but didn't get the overtake done. Looking at the replay then of the start, you can see Ricciardo actually got bogged down a little bit. Kimi Raikkonen himself in the Ferrari also got a pretty nice start. And you can see I'm slipstreaming Lewis Hamilton, and then eventually I make that move down the inside into turn 1. And I gave him a little bit of a wheel shove, but there was nothing really wrong with that. And Ricciardo going around the outside of Lewis Hamilton there into turn 1, which was a very impressive move, I thought, from Daniel Ricciardo when looking back at the replay cameras. But we have currently got, I believe it's myself from Ricciardo, from Lewis Hamilton, from Raikkonen, Vettel, and then Nico Rosberg. So Rosberg in a bit of trouble at the moment as he is looking, you can see him there, he's behind the 2 Ferraris. And of course, Ferrari have not yet made an upgrade in this Formula 1 career mode, so they're obviously not interested in upgrading until maybe Canada or something, or maybe even Monaco, not sure. But the Ferrari, of course, are going to be holding Rosberg back quite a bit as we look to try and pounce away now in this Red Bull car. Of course, we had a very successful race on Ultimate AI in Russia, and now we're going to be looking to try and hopefully have another successful race here as we're coming around the end of the middle sector. Now we've started the final sector, which is still a very tight and twisty area. It should be very good for this Red Bull car with the downforce that we have, but we'll just have to wait and see, to be honest, if it's really going to pan out that way. Coming around the final few corners now, you can see down into the chicane here, Daniel Ricciardo just nowhere near to attack us at the moment. And we got better traction and acceleration coming out of the final corner. Round the final corner we come there, a little bit wide on the exit, and across the line to take P1. And of course that was the fastest lap, so that was the replay of the first lap, no problems there. Moving on to lap 3 of the Grand Prix though, Daniel Ricciardo seems to have a lot of pace on those medium compound tyres, which I was wary of, but he definitely wanted to fight me for it. So we're coming across the chicanes now, and you can actually see that Ricciardo is right here. He's closing in on us. We go very wide on the exit of the corner, and Ricciardo's going to take that as much as he wants to. He's got the DRS coming down the long pitch straight now, and I've got nothing to defend him with, but Lewis Hamilton is there as well, so I decided to brake earlier and then go in for a switchback and attack Lewis Hamilton, drive Hamilton wide once again. I do not mind if Ricciardo stays in front of me. Ricciardo has taken the lead of this race, but for team purposes, it's not a bad idea to have Ricciardo in front of us, so that I'm not concerned about. Moving on to lap 4 of the Grand Prix, I actually told Jeff that I'd like to pit at the end of this lap, so I'm going to be attempting to come into the pits, down into the chicanes, but you can see that Ricciardo actually pulls into the pits, so he's going off the medium tyres already. So he has to be going for the hard tyres, but it's now going to be a straight drag down this pit straight. I've got DRS because I was in the range with Ricciardo. However, Lewis Hamilton here has also got the DRS, and braking down into turn 1. I'm going to again shove Hamilton wide, but in fact, Hamilton actually locked up going into turn 1. So that gave me a bit of a buffer there, and I'm able to stay in front of Lewis Hamilton here on lap 5 of the Spanish Grand Prix. But a lot of action so far as I run a little bit wide trying to check where Hamilton is. Moving on to lap 6 of the Grand Prix, and it's time for me to make my pit stop and come in for a set of the medium compound tyres. So you can see myself, Lewis Hamilton, and I believe that Sebastian Vettel are all going to be coming in and making our very first pit stops to go on to the medium compound tyres, which should take us to the end of the race. However, my teammate Ricciardo has gone for the slower option of the medium tyres and the hard tyres. We'll have to see how that pans out for him, and whether my more aggressive strategy, which is kind of the normal one really, is going to work out for us. But we're coming out of the pits now here, and hopefully we can defend from Lewis Hamilton. But as you can see, we've come out in well, just behind some traffic. You can see Daniel Ricciardo has also rejoined, and he's behind this traffic. Now, of course, Ricciardo pulled away from me just a little bit before the end of the pit stop. Now, this traffic could be quite crucial here. If I can close up to this traffic before Ricciardo can get past them all, I may be able to not only get past the traffic quicker, but I may also be able to get past Daniel Ricciardo, and that means that we may be able to regain a net first place in this Grand Prix, and that's going to help us out quite a lot in terms of trying to defend, because it's quite clear to see from when I was racing that I was not as quick as I was in Russia, and I definitely needed to come up with some sort of alternative plan in order to try and win this race. But you can see that the traffic has held up Ricciardo a massive treat here. I'm now right on the back of Daniel Ricciardo, coming down to this DRS zone here. I have got the DRS. I'm going to sit in the slipstream of my teammate. I'm going to go for a late braking move down the inside here of Daniel Ricciardo, and also the manner of Rio Haryanto. Now, Ricciardo also he doesn't get past Haryanto. He did try and get past. Unfortunately, it's just not going to work for Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to have to sit back and wait a little bit longer. Whereas whilst Ricciardo's trying to get past them, I'm going to make a diving move down the inside of Felipe Nasr, I believe that is. And now you can see I've got a small gap emerging between myself and Ricciardo, and that is crucial. And of course, Felipe Nasr and Rio Haryanto are going to keep those two back for a little bit longer. Now I'm going to be chasing the Renault of Kevin Magnussen. You can see coming out of the pits is Nico Rosberg. So Rosberg has actually brought himself into play here with this later pit stop. And now, crucially, we've got myself in the lead of this race now, theoretically in the net first place. But the problem I've got now is Ricciardo is stuck behind Nasr and the likes of Haryanto and them lot. However, Rosberg was only stuck behind Magnussen on the lap 8 of the Grand Prix. Rosberg has cleared Magnussen, and he is now right behind me, and we need to start getting some defending going. So luckily for myself, however, I've actually got the DRS deployed here against Jolyon Palmer. He is literally a lifesaver right now, because Rosberg has got the DRS and the slipstream on me. However, I've got a slipstream and DRS on Jolyon Palmer. I'm going to make a late braking move down the inside into turn 1, and crucially, Rosberg didn't get past Jolyon Palmer. He didn't make that move stick. And now I've got myself a small buffer for just a couple more corners maybe. And then luckily, I've got a bit of time basically to relax now and wait for the next assault from Nico Rosberg, because I've got no doubt in this Grand Prix, these Mercedes cars were quick here in Spain, and I had to defend my tits off. And now we're moving on here to lap 9 of the Grand Prix, and Nico Rosberg is back here ready to fight once again, and I've no longer got DRS. I've literally just got to use my Renault engine, but unfortunately, he's just gone straight past me there with the Mercedes engine. Super fast there is Nico Rosberg, and we have lost the lead of the Grand Prix. We're going to make a late braking move down inside into turn 1, but it's not going to work for us, unfortunately, and we have failed to keep Nico Rosberg back, and that's going to be Rosberg waltzing off into the distance here in Spain. Unfortunately, I just didn't have enough pace to attack Nico Rosberg, and we're going to try everything we can to get back past Rosberg, but I'm not quite sure, and unfortunately, that's not the case. On to lap 12 of the Grand Prix, Rosberg, you can see, just coming out of the chicane and entering the final corner now. Unfortunately, we're not able to catch him up, and we've got Lewis Hamilton right behind us for some company, and he's going to be looking to try and emulate what Nico Rosberg has just done and get past me. You can see he's going to go for the inside line into turn 1 this time, completely different to what Rosberg did. However, Lewis Hamilton gets that move sorted, and I decide to move myself ready for a defensive attack here. Round the outside into turn 1, giving me the inside into turn 2, and I get past Lewis Hamilton, but Hamilton's still there, still fighting with me. I'm going to go right round the outside into turn 3. I have to back off a bit, a little bit of wheel barging there. Hamilton shoving me off the circuit, which is fair play, because I've done that twice to him already. Down the inside into turn 4. Can we get this move on Lewis Hamilton? Great wheel-to-wheel racing between the pair of us here as we look to continue our fight, but Hamilton's hit my rear wheel there, and he's just shoved me off the circuit into the gravel trap. So Lewis Hamilton being very feisty indeed. A very naughty move indeed from Lewis Hamilton. He clipped my rear wheel, and I lost control, had to go off into the gravel trap there, and Lewis Hamilton literally barging me off the circuit to get in front. And now, unfortunately, on lap 13, I've got more problems. This time, Ricciardo wants to try and fight me in this Spanish Grand Prix. I'm getting absolutely bullied by everyone in this race so far, and Ricciardo goes down the inside, but I decide not to fight Ricciardo this time as much as I've been fighting the likes of Hamilton and Rosberg, because I want to see if Ricciardo, I want Ricciardo to pull away. Of course, at the moment, I've got no pace, I have nothing, so as you can see on lap 15, I've now got Vettel behind me. However, Ricciardo is now beginning to pull away, so if I can keep Vettel behind me, I could potentially allow Ricciardo to secure a podium place. So that's my thinking at the moment. The fact that I've got zero pace in the car, and you can just see Vettel absolutely waltz past me there in his Ferrari. But as you guys can tell, I've got absolutely no pace in this Red Bull car. It's just not with me in this Grand Prix. The only logic I had in terms of not fighting Ricciardo is that I could just literally give him the opportunity to try and close Hamilton down. I fought off Hamilton for quite a while, and you saw the great racing we had. So my thinking was, if I could just fend off Hamilton for as much as I can, which I did, until he shoved me off the circuit. Ricciardo I did not fight, so now I've given Ricciardo an opportunity to go back at Lewis Hamilton. But as you can see, I've got a great toe here on Sebastian Vettel. Gonna have a think down the inside, but I decided that there's just no space there. And unfortunately, I've actually let Vettel get away a bit, and I don't want that to happen because I feel that this Ferrari isn't as competitive, of course, as the Mercedes, or even my teammate Ricciardo for that matter. So I decided that I'm going to try my best and get back past Vettel, down into the hairpin. I outbrake myself just a little bit there, and Vettel's going to be better on the traction, and you can already see him pulling away at a vast rate of knots here, with Kimi Raikkonen, who's also on the hard tyres, directly behind me, and I'm still trying to fight against Vettel here. So coming down into the chicane now, we're going to be looking to try and bounce over the curbs there, literally sending myself into Narnia. And now we're into the DRS range here, so we may have an opportunity to attack Sebastian Vettel. So as you can see, we've got the DRS wide open on Vettel. We've managed to keep in range of Sebastian on this lap, and we've got DRS and the straight line speed. I've got the car in rich fuel mixture. We're going to brake nice and late, super late down into turn 1 here. A little bit of a shove there of Vettel, and I managed to make that move stick. And round the inside we go, and that is all perfect. Up into 4th place. We've got 1 lap to go to defend this 4th place. And hang on a minute. Why am I going slowly? Hang on. I'm going slowly. Yeah, this happened. I overtook Vettel into turn 1. Look at my tyre pressures here. Everything is on 60 or 50% worn. My front left is on 100% worn. I can confirm to you now that the engineers never told me to go on an alternate strategy, which means I literally had a tyre failure. There's no other way of saying it. I checked throughout the race and it was on 60%. I made the move on the inside of Vettel. I then went around the outside into turn 3 and it blew up on me. So, as you can already see from your screens there, P15, there goes Gutierrez, there goes Palmer, and I come across the line. 17th in the Spanish Grand Prix. Yep, I failed to score a point. I defended very hard in this Grand Prix. I was definitely not the fastest by any means at all. I mean, Rosberg and Hamilton were on another level today in their Mercedes car. They really showed up after my surprising 4 wins in a row. But Nico Rosberg actually comes through and he takes the win here at the Spanish Grand Prix. So we've got a brand new winner in this career mode or in this season. And that's Nico Rosberg, who comes home and he actually leads a Mercedes 1-2. Lewis Hamilton collects 2nd place in the race, and my teammate Daniel Ricciardo did get 3rd place. But for some reason, my tyre blew up. And it wasn't because it wasn't because I stayed out too long. I didn't stay out too long, because you saw there, I had 100%, which means the tyre's gone at that point. But the other tyres were on 61, 52 and 48, which means they would have easily made it to the end of the race, no problem. So that front left tyre has literally just failed. So at this moment in time, everyone's celebrating on the podium. I've gone down to go and meet the Pirelli team director and literally swear at him and try and punch at him like Sebastian Vettel does, because that's how angry I'm at. But there you go, that's racing. Hey, we had a puncture and a tyre failure at the Chinese Grand Prix, you know, in Season 2 with Mercedes-Benz, and just come back to bite us again here at the Spanish Grand Prix. But that's going to be it then, guys, for the Spanish Grand Prix. We're not going to be scoring any points today, but we do maintain the lead of our drivers' standings. The gap is cut from 42 points down to 18 points, so a massive cut there from basically not scoring points. So my closest challenger of Nico Rosberg scoring maximum points, so I'm really upset to see that. In the constructors standings, the gap is now down to 9 points between me and Mercedes, or Red Bull and Mercedes, as Mercedes came home with a 1-2, giving them 43 points. Ricciardo got 15 points, so he cut that down, but unfortunately I couldn't score any points. In terms of everything else then, you can see that Lewis Hamilton is very far in front in the driver rivalry, and we're losing badly now in the driver position. We need to start working hard, and we are going to be making an upgrade though, and that's going to be less drag on the car, which will be introduced for Monaco, but I wanted it really for the Canadian Grand Prix. But guys, that's it for the Spanish Grand Prix. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Take care. Peace.